Motorhead Garage, the program that each week introduces you to and shows you how to install the latest in exciting and innovative products for your vehicle. Now here's your host, Dave Dobson.
Hey there, Motorheads. Welcome to your show. This is Motorhead Garage, presented by DragonFireTools.com. Pickup trucks, tremendously useful, right? Well, if you get a bike or a kayak or something, you want to try to throw it in the truck. It's got to go in the bed. It's going to rattle around. No way to secure it. So you end up with a rack. Well, you can't use the rack if you have a tonneau cover, but there is a solution. It's from our friends at Billy Bars. Now, Nate, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Dave.
You guys came up with a solution here. I can use my tonneau cover with the rack. How does it work?
So it's pretty simple. It's a simple system with 4 brackets, 2 bars, and some hardware. And all we're doing is clamping to the inside of the bed rail and allowing you to secure your belongings with the tonneau cover to keep your truck a truck.
Well, let's look at the brackets themselves to see how those work here. You've got 2 different sizes.
Correct. Yeah, we have a 5-inch and an 8-inch bracket size. They're steel brackets that are powder coated, and what's neat is we have a zinc base below the fine texture powder coat, which gives you extra protection if there is any chipping. We also put some RTV from our friends at Permatex in the cradle here, giving you added protection and corrosion prevention.
And I like the fact that it's double coated here. Let's talk about the rack itself now. You've got the 2 thumb screws there.
Yeah, so our standard sets come with security screws. We also have thumb screws here. And the great thing about our system is that it's easy to take on and off, achievable by one person. And then you can take the bars off if you need bed access. So you would just twist these knobs, or in the case of the security screws, use an impact driver, boom, boom, 4 bolts and the bars off. The other great thing is we have a T-slot extrusion here. It's aluminum, so you can throw stuff on it and it'll never rust if it's scratched. And then we can add what are called T-nuts into the channel here, allowing to mount all different types of accessories and then kind of whatever the customer can dream of.
And that's a standard T-nut. This is sort of something you've seen before, so it's not like you have to run out and buy special proprietary hardware from it.
No, it's a standard T-slot extrusion that works with a lot of different hardware that you can find on the market.
Now, how do the brackets attach to the side of the truck?
So if you don't have a utility track, in the case of this F-150, we would just clamp in the inner bed lip. So this would sit kind of right behind here, and in between the two would be the bed lip, and you're just clamping. And once the system's fully installed is where you get the stability and strength.
Now, you've got a bike on back there, and there's a few extra accessories to go with the bicycles. A lot of stuff that I haven't seen before.
Yeah, so bikes, kayaks, rooftop tents are really popular. We don't have them featured here because it kind of hide the bars. But we got a lot of neat products from other companies as well as some of ours. We use a company called Rocky Mounts, who we absolutely love. They make a piece called the drop top, which allows you to physically lock your piece. A lot of security here in this system.
And talking security here, you can leave your tonneau cover on, which means you can essentially use your truck bed as a trunk when you want to take your bike and hit the trails as well.
Yeah, so the hard trifold cover behind us, very secure. You can lock your tailgate, and like you said, you've got all your belongings stored below. They're safe, hopefully dry, out of the elements.
All right, Nate, we're going to take the bike off here so we can get to the rack and show how we can get to the bed of the truck as well. We'll take off the drop top from Rocky Mount here. And the bike is loose, and you are free to move about the country. And now we're going to take off the actual rack itself. Now, the folks from Billy Bars give you this locking tool, and you can use that, but they also will sell you one that goes on your drill or impact driver, and we know that's a whole lot easier. So I'm going to use that. Bill on the other side is going to loosen the other 2 bolts. So to get the rack off, it's only 4 bolts, Bill. Super simple. We'll move that off. You got that side off?
Got it off.
You got it? We'll lift this off. Very good. Now, you're a mechanical engineer?
I am. Yes.
So you've designed a lot of crazy stuff. Really complicated stuff. So you know this is a quality item.
Made in the USA. Everything has a 3-year warranty for rust and corrosion resistant. If there's any problems, just reach out to us, and customer service is our #1 thing.
All right. Well, let's get to the pièce de résistance here. Let's check out the tonneau cover.
So there we go. We got a bunch of stuff in the bed that's secure. So all we do is take the crossbars off. The brackets stay on at all times, and latch the tonneau cover, and you can flip it open.
And that's it. You get full use of your truck, so you're not wasting all the space. And you can use a lot of things with this. In fact, you said that a lot of users even come up with their own ideas.
Yeah.
You've got the Rome Adventure case behind you there, bikes, kayaks, all kinds of stuff. And it enables you to get it up and out of the way, and you can still use the space underneath.
Like I said, it's an outdoors company, but we like to keep our truck a truck. We use it for work, hauling dirt, mulch, whatever we need to haul.
And what makes you most proud about what you're doing here?
Getting people outside. It's our main goal. We think everybody would have a happier life if they did experience the outdoors, mountain biking, hiking, whatever the case may be.
You had a guy just last week tell you how easy the Billy bars have made his life.
Yes, he actually had Parkinson's syndrome, and he was able to install the bars himself, and he reached out to us and couldn't thank us enough to, actually get a rack on his truck and use his truck.
The track, the way this installs, looks familiar to me. Is this something I've seen before?
Yeah, so any tonneau cover out there on the market usually clamps on the inner lip of the bed, much like your toppers or caps. So it's something that's been done for years, and it works really well.
And I tried before we got started here in the studio to shake this thing, and I've never seen anything so solid. Almost rolled the truck over. Billy bars are super solid. They are super easy to use. It's super easy to install. They're going to make your life a whole lot easier, make your truck a whole lot more useful. You can find them at billybars.com. We'll be right back with more Motorhead Garage presented by DragonFireTools.com. We'll see you in a minute.
Motorhead Garage, presented by DragonFireTools.com, is brought to you by RockAuto.com. All the parts your car will ever need. And by Campbell's Custom Care, your detail specialist.
Thanks for rolling along with Motorhead Garage presented by DragonFireTools.com. Here's a segment from our old studio from a few months ago. This is the classic American automobile. It's a 1963 Corvette Stingray. It's the split window. They are hard to find. There were only 10,000 of them made, and to find one this good is pretty amazing. And just when you think this car can't get any better, oh, it can, because Billy is here from Corvette Correction, and you've made classic cars like this even better. First of all, what about a Corvette needs correcting in the first place?
Well, we started this business with the first generation car, and those need a lot of correction. These cars were pretty good cars. We have made them better by using our chassis and putting the C4 suspension underneath them. They had a lot of problems with rust in these cars because people drive them in the snow and the ice and salt and what have you, but it is a pretty cool car.
Technology has changed.
Oh yeah, all the stock control arms were stamped steel control arms. They were heavy. They had a kind of a poor setup on the rear suspension. This has gone to a 4-link rear suspension. It's all aluminum stuff. It's forged. Well, you don't have that in the later 5, 6, or 7 cars. That's one of the reasons we use the C4 stuff. It is stronger and it's nice and light.
You're using better materials, lighter materials, and really a better design in a lot of ways. So what are some of the details? Let's go from the front to the rear, some of the things you paid attention to.
Okay, well, for one thing, you get rack and pinion steering. And we use the whole front cradle just like GM designed it, so you don't get bump steering the corners and stuff like that. And we incorporated that into our first generation chassis, now our second generation chassis. Of course, we do pickup trucks and Tri-5s too. But this system works so well, and GM did so many dollars worth of engineering. I mean, I'm not smart enough, I don't have the money to do that. So I just copied their stuff. We put all the hard points in the same place in the back, and it works.
No, you're being humble. I mean, you did copy the mounting points, so you're able to take your existing car and drop it right on this chassis.
Yeah, we use all the same body mounts at, same location as they are stock.
But you have a few places where you reinforce, like right here in the transition.
Yeah, in this transition area, that was one of the big problems we had trying to develop this frame where it's stronger than the stock frame. And what we do in this area right here is we use a piece of this 3x4 3/16 wall tubing.
Same as the cross member there?
Same as that cross member. Inside this box, it goes from here to here and it welds in, and then this box slides over the top of it, and then it's welded in, and then it transitions into this area right here. It's a triangle piece that we put on this 3x4 box tubing to give it more rigidity.
So it keeps it from flexing in this direction.
We're trying to keep the flex out of the cars, and we've been able to do that successfully with reinforcing this box. The first one I didn't put the box in there, and it had less flex than the original frame, but it was still more than I wanted.
You're always testing and doing some R&D.
The prototype was, it worked, but it didn't work as well as these do.
Right, and your engineering mind went to work, and you did things like that, and you also added the gussets there that we see.
Yeah, we put gussets in the corners of everything but the prototype frame, and that helps this whole area just really be strong.
What about exhaust? I know a lot of times cross members, you've got to work your way around it, and people always think of exhaust last. I get that complaint from engine guys anyway. Exhaust is an afterthought, but you've thought of that and you've taken care of that.
We have, and we didn't drop our cross member down low because we didn't want to put holes through it. We want to keep it pretty rigid. So we run the exhaust under the cross member, which still is higher than it was in the stock car because the other cross member dropped down and had holes in it. So we're under the cross member, and then we go under the rear end, and in lots of cases, like in that car, we bring them out the center, more modern looking. You can still take them out the stock holes, or, you know, we've had people put side pipes on these cars too, which affects none of this stuff underneath.
Last time you were here, you brought a 62 that was immaculate, and I still tell people it's the best car I've ever driven. You mind if I take this one for a spin?
No, you need to.
Let's do it.
Let's go.
Billy, this car is amazing. It looks incredible, and it drives just as well. I know the burning question from people is, what are they going to have to do to their car? How much are they going to have to cut it up to mount it to one of your frames?
Not a lot. I mean, just take those two jack welds out behind the seat here, and we have a fiberglass panel that glues right in there. And that's the only thing you have to do. The body will fit right on the frame other than that. And the only reason we have to do that is because the bigger pumpkin, what have you.
Gotcha. Well, this thing is amazing and handles as well as any new car I have ever driven. You've really got a winner here. And anybody with a classic Corvette, with a Tri-5 or Chevy truck, you're going to want to check out Corvette Correction, because everything starts with a really good foundation, and this is a really good foundation, Billy.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. This is, I've had guys drive these cars that own C7s, you know, 16s and 17s, and they said, we'll sell our car, just have one of these instead.
Well, like I said, you've hit a home run here. This is amazing. You can check it out at CorvetteCorrection.com. We'll be right back with more Motorhead Garage presented by DragonFireTools.com. Don't go anywhere.
Motorhead Garage presented by DragonFireTools.com, coming to you from the Campbell's Custom Care Studio.
This is Motorhead Garage presented by DragonFireTools.com. Now, Ryan, you at DDC Wheels and your partners have tons of experience in the wheel business, and a few years ago you decided to spin off and create your own wheels. How come?
So DDC Wheels is strictly a dually wheel company. We founded the company in 2019, and what we brought to market is a direct bolt option for both 8 and 10 lug trucks. There's no need for adapters. Everything is direct bolt, hub-centric front and rear, and you're going to find the biggest load ratings possible in every one of our packages.
Let's talk about adapters. Why is that a bad thing to have an adapter?
Adapter is not only extra added cost to the package that you're buying from another wheel manufacturer, but the sheer weight, it's not really the best solution, we thought. So we saw a void in the market, and that's why we came up with DDC. It's all direct bolt, and people are loving them.
And of course, extra weight, that means more wear and tear in the vehicle, and it can also become a safety issue as well.
Being that all of our stuff is hub-centric, that is super important when you're towing heavy, whether it's a camper, you know, hot shotter going across the United States, towing super heavy. Being hub-centric front and rear, it's a very key factor.
And what kind of makes and models are we talking here for trucks?
Chevy, GMC. We go back pretty early, 92 on the GM, and we're working on some stuff that's going to be even earlier. But we go all the way up to current applications, whether it's Chevy, GMC, Ford, we go back to currently 05. We're working on applications that go back to the 70s and stuff. Same thing with Dodge and Dodge Ram.
Of course, form is important. These wheels look amazing.
Yeah.
And what about function there? How did that follow?
That was an important aspect that when we knew we were going to do a direct bolt application and we built as much load rating into it as we could, we knew the right tire had to be the perfect option depending on the user themselves and how they tow, how they use their truck. Do they have a camper that goes into the back of the bed, all that stuff. Our important factor too when we built these packages was to make sure that the end consumer, when they're building that truck with whatever lift kit, keeping it stock, that they can get the right tire option as far as the width goes and overall diameter. So while you can go up to 1250 wide with our packages, you can go narrower too. So it just narrows it up just a little bit more.
You said everything's hub-centric, and
Yeah.
also people are trying to achieve that 10-bolt look.
Yep.
How do you do that?
What makes our 8-lug packages unique is they are a direct bolt like we've been talking about, but you get that real cool 10-lug look. And what we do is we incorporate a larger aluminum cap, and then behind that cap, the lug nuts that we supply physically mount the wheel to the chassis. And then in the face of the wheel, we have 10 billet bolts. And then we have 2 options for lug covers. Ones that just slide over, and then we also have a billet aluminum one that you can thread on.
And those look fantastic.
They do.
Kind of finishes the look there. And I know there's a lot of companies right now that are having trouble with stock, the way things are in the world today.
Sure.
People are waiting and waiting for shipments.
Yeah.
But now you guys, how'd you avert that?
A couple years back, basically just roundtable and said, you know what, we can't sell something we don't have in stock. So we invested a lot of time and money into making sure we had that inventory. Because a lot of dually wheel companies out there, they're not like a specific dually wheel company like we are. They usually sell regular truck wheels and whatnot. So we knew the importance of calling in, getting the owners on the phone, talking shop. But we had 1, 2, 3 different options to choose from. You didn't have to wait 6 to 12 weeks to get your package. Nobody likes to wait.
No doubt about that.
Yeah.
Let's talk about your customer service then. Folks are calling, they need wheels. What do they need to do?
So if they call our shop, you're going to definitely get an owner, myself, Ryan, Blake, or Steve. We're there Monday through Friday, 8 to 5. You can get us on social media as well. We never stop working. So when you call in, you can ask just about any question. And we pride ourselves on having the knowledge of, whether, like I said, stock, leveled, or lifted. What's the best wheel? What's the best tire fitment? Sometimes even answering like suspension questions and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's the thing I love about you at DDC. You're not just addressing the wheels and it's not a one-size-fits-all solution.
Correct.
You want to solve problems.
Correct.
How important is that to you as a business owner?
You can have a great solution and a great product, but you got to have a good team behind it that kind of knows what they're talking about, and obviously a good customer base out there.
We talked about different makes and models. What different sizes are available through DDC?
So we concentrate on 2 sizes, and it's based on the tire manufacturers that have the broadest offerings for the quality tires out there. It's 20-inch and 22-inch.
Well, you can find it all, performance and good looks too, ddcwheels.com. And find more Motorhead Garage presented by DragonFireTools.com right after this.
Motorhead Garage, presented by DragonFireTools.com, industrial workbenches with integrated tool storage. And brought to you by AMSOIL, the first in synthetics. And by Better Battery Bolt. You're nuts not to try these bolts.
If you sand or grind anything in the automotive world, chances are you have heard of Dynabrade. They are the industry leader when it comes to abrasive tools. Now, Dynabrade has been making the highest quality tools for more than 50 years, and the thing I love about them is they never stop growing and innovating. Case in point, the new Nitro Series DN1. This thing's great. It's a pistol grip mini orbital sander, and it's a game changer for small scale sanding applications. The DN1 is aimed at fabricators, repair technicians, painters, detailers, even woodworkers are going to love this thing. The abrasive surface is just 1.25 inches in diameter, and that means it's easy to control. The pistol grip design also means more maneuverability as well. Just think of how many times you've painted a vehicle and gotten a dust nib in a clear coat. Well, paint correction is so easy with the Nitro Series DN1. You can sand a tiny area without hurting the clear coat at all. The small sanding surface of the tool combined with the pistol grip design means you can actually see where you're sanding and your work is not hidden under a big palm sander. There's so many benefits from the ergonomic design of the DN1. Now, first of all, it only weighs 1 pound, and that's less than half a kilogram for our Canadian friends. The ambidextrous design means it's great for righties or lefties, and the DN1 produces very little vibration, and that is something you'll appreciate if you use it all day long. And of course, when you're at Dynabrade.com, you can get structured abrasive discs that fit the DN1 perfectly. There's an 1.25 inch round disc that fits right on it, and there's also the 1 3/8 scallop design that makes it possible to get into tight or concave nooks and crannies. No more gouging when you're trying to work in those small contours with a big sander. Structured abrasives are super consistent as well, so you can dial in the exact finish that you're looking to achieve. If you have small details to sand or grind, reach for the Nitro Series DN1. This tool and a slew of others made by Dynabrade in the USA. They listen, they observe, and they innovate. Dynabrade.com.
Engine manufacturers have been making the part fitment and tolerances tighter and tighter and tighter. And with that, well, you need to know about plasti gauge and bearing clearances. That's what this AMSOIL Tech Tip is all about. To measure bearing clearance, well, you can use a strip here called plasti gauge. You can see it right here on the graphic. It's actually a plastic piece that goes right across the actual bearing or the journal. And what you do is you put it on there and then you smush it. You put it to factory specifications and torque it and read it. Now you can see our engine right here. We actually have a dual overhead cam engine right here, and you have cam bearings underneath. You have crank bearings. They're all over the place. So what you would do is basically take one of these caps off, get you a little strip of that plastic, put it on there, dry, don't spin it, torque it to specifications, and then read that bearing clearance. Very, very important that you have the proper bearing clearance. Why is that? Well, you can see right here, I got a few bearings. This one, well, it's worn here in the middle. That's going to be a problem. This one right here, totally have a hole in it. It's been wearing metal to metal, not a good thing. This one, well, it's totally shot. This was actually a thrust bearing on both sides. You have no protection with that whatsoever, and this is what a good bearing looks like. Now, it's important to use the right oil because you want to have a film between those. Len from AMSOIL, tell us a little bit about that.
It's interesting that you look at those bearings because in the whole plastic gauge thing, you're actually, instead of plastic gauge, when your engine is running, there's oil in that small space, which is why we're measuring it. Oil is that cushion that's going to ride between the bearing and the crank or the rod or the camshaft, and it has to hold up to combustion pressure. It has to hold up to a whole bunch of different forces, and that requires the oil to have film strength. And one of the things that you get where you get really good film strength is a high quality synthetic. And AMSOIL Signature Series products have an extremely high quality base oil that we use that automatically gives you a really good film strength. And it's going to hold up and it'll keep those bearings from touching together, because anytime metal touches, you get wear.
Yeah.
So they're going to help with that.
Yeah, you see the results in the bearings now. The proof's in the pudding, Len. You can take a look at this right here. You can see the leading competitor. Man, those bearings are shot. AMSOIL, they look like new. So if you want to see more illustrations like that or check out more products, just go to amsoil.com.
We're going to do more Motorhead Garage presented by DragonFireTools.com next week. We hope you join us then. In the meantime, if you have a product you want to see on our show, email me, Dave@MotorheadGarage.tv. We'll get you here in the studio. We'll see you next time. Have a great week.